So this is the time of day when you are more likely to see a spirit or experience something from another realm, something supernatural, something truly spiritual. What if I told you that research has actually determined what time of day in the 24-hour period you are more likely to experience a spirit phenomenon or something truly from the other side, from God? Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm Dr. Andrea O'Connor, and this is the channel where we talk about interesting medical phenomenons, supernatural, and just really interesting things. I ran across this study, and this was actually from the neuropsychiatry of paranormal experiences. So the psychiatrists did the research. And when I tell you when the most optimum time to have, maybe your prayers are answered, or maybe you hear that voice in your head that just gives you the answer to that problem that you've been having. I think it's really important for us to think about this. But I wanted to say, many of us and many of my viewers here have sent in their own stories of angelic beings and hearing from the other side. And, many of my videos talk about in my medical career, all the unexplained things I have had. And if you haven't seen those videos, go ahead and look at the past ones, like, did I drive a ghost home? As many of you know, I've had many years experience in the hospice field and in the medical field, and now have a private practice where I continue to see miracles with my patients. But I thought this research was fascinating. And I know many of you, I had an amazing ghost story, spirit story sent in. And again, you can go back and watch my live about the details. But basically, it was medical personnel, doctors, nurses, all experiencing in the hospital that was being shut down, demolished, moving to a new hospital, crying babies, voices, unexplained experiences, the security guards, like everybody was experiencing this. And I have to tell you, in healthcare and in medicine, my colleagues and I, we do discuss things like this. We don't say it out in the open. I mean, I'm prepared to do that, but we don't talk about this in the open because, technically we can't prove it. And really, medicine is all about evidence-based research, anecdotal reports. We listen to them, but, they can't really prove anything. So a lot of the paranormal stuff we talk about as physicians, we kind of keep it to ourselves. But I really wanted to start sharing more of that. Well, I stumbled across this research, and the amazing thing is, one thing has to do with, before I tell you what time it occurs, they're finding that magnetic areas of the earth, or where there's increasing geomagnetic activity, and I'm looking at the research here as I look to the side, can enhance paranormal experiences. Now, I know for some of you that is not a surprise, but, it made me think about ley lines. Ley lines are measurements across the earth. Some say it's pseudoscience. Others say that's literally the architecture, or where very important capitals and churches and very important buildings were constructed among these ley lines. And it is postulated that ley lines have more magnetic pull or magnetic energy. And it's interesting because in this study, they showed that those people that experienced areas of more geomagnetic activity in the earth and more electromagnetic activity had more experiences, more paranormal and supernatural experiences. And in my live tonight, I'll have the same outfit on so you know which one is the live. I'm going to go into more detail of what that means. And if you've ever watched those ghost hunting shows when they have the EMF readers and they're looking for electrical magnetic activity, because science has long said that in areas where there is that activity, you may sense that there's a presence there or sense something going on. But again, it made me think of ley lines, because why are we constructing very important buildings and churches on those areas of high geomagnetic activity? And again, when I think of other dimensions, do those areas of high magnetic activity help pull our electrical brain activity like to the other side, almost like a telephone wire? It's not in the research, but it's kind of what I'm trying to decide, why is this happening? I think about that. Well, let's get back to the time of day. Research has shown that most people experience these paranormal and spiritual activities in the hours between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. Does that surprise you? I don't think so, because my first video that's now at 1.6 million views, which has blown my mind when I say that I talk about the patient that was passing away and what I experienced, that was, I said, in the middle of the night. And most of the things I experienced in the hospital were around 2 and 3 a.m. And I'm sure many of you have had unusual dreams that you woke up in a cold sweat at 3 a.m. or you hear those unusual sounds you can't explain at 3 a.m. So research has shown most experiences happen between 2 and 4 a.m. On my live, I'll go into more of the reason why that happens. But doesn't it help? Doesn't it give you a little bit of an answer or reassurance? Because a lot of us have experiences and it's like, yeah, research has shown that's the time of day that occurs. And so the other thing I wanted to talk about, when people experience, when they say, I feel there was someone standing behind me, or there was a spirit in the room with me, or I know I heard that voice. And so I'm looking at the research here and they show at night, when you have increased melatonin levels in the brain and an increased flow of what's called CRF, or corticotropic releasing factor, when you have these in the brain, it is hypothesized, so we don't know for sure, it's just a guess, that these things can lead to a greater occurrence of what they call bereavement apparitions. And so this happens again between 2 and 4 a.m., sometimes a little bit later in the morning. But this is what blew my mind. People in the research show that they experience their deceased loved one within about 2 to 3 days after they've died. And then in the middle of the night, they have an apparition, or they're calling it a bereavement apparition. So if you've had a loved one or a close family member pass away and you swear you see dimes in the house, or you heard a hello in there, or you felt a reassuring hug, research is starting to support this. Now, again, there's a lot more to this. I'm going to go over it more detail in the live tonight. And on the live, if you come to it, we can chat back and forth. You can ask questions. But I think it's really important that we go over this new research. To me, it's mind-blowing, and it's kind of assuring what we've already known and what I've experienced in healthcare. And I love that there's now some data to support this. I just think it's great. And what a time of year, right, to start talking about this, as we all have experienced. The world is changing. It's getting a little weird out there, right? Okay, I thank you for being here, and I'll see you on the live tonight.